I recognize the member from Orleans to move the second reading of the bill.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move second reading of Bill 66, an act to proclaim the month of October as Kids Online Safety and Privacy Month.
Pursuant to Standing Order 100, the member has 12 minutes for their presentation.
Well, thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and good evening, colleagues. It's an honor to rise today on behalf of the people of Orleans to speak to Bill 66, the Kids Online Safety and Privacy Month 2025. I would like to first acknowledge and thank my colleague, the MPP for Ottawa-Vanier, Lucille Collard, for her tremendous leadership on this project. Her dedication to protecting children is without equal, and I can say without hesitation that in this House, nobody does it better or cares more than she does. Je voudrais d'abord reconnaître et remercier ma collègue, la députée provinciale d'Ottawa-Vanier, Lucille Collard, pour son remarquable leadership dans ce projet de loi. Son engagement envers la protection des enfants est incomparable et je peux dire sans hésiter que dans cette Chambre, personne ne fait un meilleur travail et personne ne soucie plus que Mme Collard par rapport à ce projet important. Madam Speaker, this is a simple bill, or Mr. Speaker, excuse me. This is a simple bill with a clear purpose: to shine a spotlight every October on the safety, privacy, and well-being of children growing up in an increasingly digital world. This bill creates a dedicated moment every year, an opportunity for parents, educators, community organizations, members of government, and lawmakers to come together to talk honestly and openly about how we protect children online. Ce que ce projet de loi permet, c'est de créer chaque année un moment consacré, une occasion pour les parents, les éducateurs, les organismes communautaires, les membres du gouvernement et les législateurs de se réunir afin de discuter ouvertement et honnêtement la façon dont nous protégeons les enfants en ligne dans notre province. And, Mr. Speaker, that conversation is urgently needed. Our young people today are the first generation to grow up fully immersed in digital online technology. Young people don't step into the digital world, they live in it. It's where they learn, it's where they socialize, it's how they explore new ideas and express themselves. In 2022, 99% of young Canadians aged 15 to 24 used the internet, and 91% were active on social networking sites. What's most alarming, Mr. Speaker, is what our kids encounter while navigating the net. We cannot discuss online safety without confronting one of the most disturbing crimes in our country: the online sexual exploitation of children and efforts to radicalize them online with exposure to hate of all forms. The internet has opened remarkable opportunities for learning, for connection, and for creativity. But it has also become a weapon for predators to exploit children and for extremists to spread hate. Nous ne pouvons pas parler de la sécurité de nos enfants en ligne sans aborder un crime les plus dérangeants dans notre pays: l'exploitation sexuelle des enfants sur l'Internet et les efforts de les radicaliser en ligne par l'exposition à toute forme de haine. L'Internet a ouvert les portes de les possibilités remarquables d'apprentissage, de connexion et de la créativité. Mais il est aussi devenu une arme qui permet à des prédateurs d'exploiter les enfants et à des extrémistes de propager la haine. The Canadian Centre for Child Protection, one of Canada's most important advocates in this area, now receives more than 100,000 reports every month related to online sexual abuse of children and their exploitation. Statistics Canada reports that 71% of young Canadians saw online hate content in 2022, and police reported data collected between 2018 and 2022 shows that more than one-third, or 36% of victims of cyber-related hate crimes were under the age of 25. For many young people, the online world exposes them to things that no child should ever have to see or experience. A recent Stats Canada report shows an equally troubling trend. Police reported incidents involving children harmed in digital spaces increased from 50 incidents per 100,000 in 2014 to 130 by 2020. That's an increase of more than 160% in just 6 years. Leanna MacDonald, the Executive Director of the Canadian Centre for Child Protection, summarized the crisis clearly when she said, "Canadian children and adolescents are being targeted and victimized through their daily use of technology and social media platforms. There is an urgent need for all levels of government to ensure they regulate and protect minors in digital spaces with the same level of care as they do in the offline world." That urgency is why we are here today debating Bill 66. Mr. Speaker, we know that online victimization does not happen in isolation. Stats Canada again reports that child sexual offences Stats Canada data on child sexual offences reveals that alluring a child accounts for 77% of all online sexual offences against children. 65% of victims were targeted by a stranger or casual acquaintance, while nearly a quarter were exploited by someone they knew, a friend, a family member, or an intimate partner. What's also challenging, Mr. Speaker, is that less than half of cases, roughly 44%, are cleared by police. And while charges are laid in the majority of those cases, the lasting impacts remain with survivors for their entire lives. And those impacts are profound. Children who experience sexual exploitation often suffer from psychological harm, challenges with development, substance use disorders, depression, and trauma that impact their relationships well into adulthood. This is a public health crisis, Mr. Speaker, a public safety crisis, and a children's rights crisis. Ontario and Canada have long recognized that children possess their own agency as individuals. At one point in our history, Mr. Speaker, children had no rights at all. They had only obligations. But now children are recognized as full people with their own inherent rights, deserving of special protections because of their developmental stage and their vulnerability. This principle is the foundation of the 1989 United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, which was ratified by Canada in 1991. The CRC remains the most widely ratified human rights treaty in history, and two articles speak specifically to what we're debating tonight. Article 19 states that states must take all appropriate measures to protect children from abuse, injury, maltreatment, or exploitation, including sexual abuse. Article 34 states that states must protect children from all forms of sexual exploitation and sexual abuse. So now, Madam Speaker, adopting Bill 66 sends a clear message. Ontario is committed to upholding these obligations, not just on paper, but in practice. I would also like to thank and recognize the meaningful steps being taken by the federal Liberal government to help keep our kids safe online. Earlier this year, the Minister of Public Safety announced $39.7 million in federal investments to protect children and youth from online sexual exploitation. That was $21.5 million for provincial internet child exploitation units, helping support their investigative capacity, including $7.5 million for the Ontario Provincial Police, and $18.2 million for the Canadian Centre for Child Protection to expand their critical work and respond to an overwhelming rise in demand. But, Madam Speaker, no single government can solve this alone. Around the world, governments are grappling with the same challenge. In Australia, the federal parliament has passed the Online Safety Amendment Social Media Minimum Age Bill, which will come into force next week on December 10th. Under that law, children under the age of 16 will no longer be allowed to create or maintain social media platforms, including on Facebook and X and YouTube, Instagram and Reddit. Social media companies must take responsible steps to enforce the rule or face fines of up to $50 million. Parents cannot override the restriction. And the purpose of that legislation is simple: to protect the mental health and well-being of Australian kids. Now, whether one agrees or disagrees with that approach, and it is perhaps extreme, The message is the same worldwide. We must act. Doing nothing should no longer be an option. The hope with this bill is to bring awareness to the issue, because awareness drives action, because conversations create cultural and societal change. Designating a month allows us to highlight safety resources for families, promote digital literacy in schools, partner with community groups, support law enforcement and child protection agencies, and speak directly to young people about their rights, safety, and in privacy online. It creates a space for all of us, no matter the political stripe, to work together. And Madam Speaker, that is exactly what the kids of Ontario need and deserve. The digital world is evolving faster than any generation or government can keep up with. Our laws, our education systems, and our public awareness must evolve with it, or else we risk further harming our children. Bill 66 won't solve all of these problems, but it will ensure that Ontario sets aside a time every year to confront them head-on, to learn from experts, to hear from survivors, to empower parents and educators, and most importantly, to protect children. This bill is about recognizing that every child in Ontario has the right to grow up safe, supported, and free from exploitation, both online and offline. Le projet de loi 66 ne va pas régler tous les problèmes, mais il va garantir que l'Ontario consacre chaque année un mois entier pour affronter ces enjeux, pour apprendre des experts, pour écouter les survivants, pour donner aux parents et aux éducateurs les outils nécessaires pour agir, et surtout pour protéger les enfants en ligne. Ce projet de loi se concentre sur la prévention et la sensibilisation. Il s'agit de reconnaître que chaque enfant en Ontario a le droit de grandir en sécurité et libre de toute forme d'exploitation, tant en ligne qu'hors ligne. So thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, colleagues and friends. I hope that you will find it appropriate to support this bill this evening. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
For the debate, the member now has 2 minutes to reply. I recognize the member from Orleans.
Oh, well, thank you, Madam Speaker. I'd like to thank member from Cambridge and from Waterloo, from Spadina, Fort York, of course, my friend from Nepean, who is younger than I am, and the amazing work, my colleague and friend from Ottawa, Vanier, for the amazing work she did putting this together and all the advocacy. As a colleague from Nepean mentioned, I don't think any of us in this room is young enough to have grown up kind of in this environment, maybe over there in the corner. But most of us probably would be leading a slightly different life if a computer and a phone were in our pocket when we were growing up. If we had Facebook and YouTube and Reddit and Roblox and all those things as we were kids, our lives would have been different, whether that was because of online pressure and bullying or perhaps some photographic evidence, which we are perhaps lucky doesn't exist, that our kids currently have to deal with. And so I think it's important for all of us to recognize the modern reality that kids are living through. I've got a 16-year-old at home, and we've got locks on his iPhone and on his Instagram, on his computer, on the Xbox, and I'm sure he's still seen and done things online that my wife and I would not be too happy about. And I think many of us still have kids at home or grandkids. Some of them are probably not old enough yet to be online, but they're going to get there. They're going to get there soon if they're not there already. And so we need to make sure that our kids are equipped, that families are equipped, that educators are equipped, and we have to absolutely ensure that law enforcement agencies and social agencies are equipped to deal with predators when they do infect our communities and our homes. So thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity. Thank you, colleagues, for your remarks tonight. And above all, thank you, Madame Collard, for your leadership.
The time provided for private members' public business has expired. Mr. Blais has moved second reading of Bill 66, an act to proclaim the month of October as Kids Online Safety and Privacy Month. Is it the pleasure of the House that the motion carry? Carried.
Second reading of the bill. Deuxième lecture du projet de loi.